All right, guys. So a couple of banging trades. One that I took in Asia last night because I couldn't sleep. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning and just look at the charts, which I probably shouldn't have done. But I've noticed lately that gold's been quite smooth in Asia, and the moves have been big enough to get some nice take profits. So first things first, then I'll review this trade here, and then this trade was taken today in the VIP section. And I also want to. I'm also going to have a quick look and go through DAX because there's some nice trades there. So right, okay. So basically, we had this big drop off, okay, and prices come back into this accumulation area here. When price returns to an accumulation, generally it will bounce. And although this was quite scatty, when we formed this fair value gap right here, okay, on 15-minute time frame, you can see that price came down to it, bounced, broke back above it, came back down, and just sitting happily. So I was taking my trade, one of these two candles. I can't quite remember which one it was because I was quite tired, but we took the trade, hovered around break even for a little while, and then as 6 a.m. came, there's normally quite a lot of volume that comes in at 6 a.m. So I was thinking to myself, it's either going to go stop loss or it's going to go to take profit. Now normally I would set my take profit at 2R, but the reason why I didn't was because I thought if we can break back above this pivot level here, so we've got quite a big pivot level, so we've got this accumulation, and this area here, I thought if we were breaking back above this area, then the next destination would be this imbalance at the top. Okay, so that's basically what happened. I do think the gold will continue to yesterday's high. However, this imbalance was obviously going to cause a couple of issues, and because I was trading early this morning, I wasn't prepared for my trade to come all the way back down to this area. I thought I'm just going to take my profit now. In the VIP group, one of the trades that was taken was this trade here in London session. Okay, so this trade for me was a great trade. Very well read with the terms of the price action that I teach with the candle sticking at me. So I'll just put the Asian session on so I know where I am here. So this is the Frankfurt session, which I generally don't trade. However, when price sort of hesitated around here, let's have a look. Was there a fair value gap? There's a fair value gap here, and there's another one here, right? So we have these imbalances, okay? So price was basically coming off this imbalance here, and we got the bitch candle here in Frankfurt. Price moved up, bounced off in London, and then you can see it slowly moving up. But if you look at this in terms of pure price action, okay, which is obviously what I teach, move this to one side. We've got the bullish facing candle, right, and we've actually created like a support on the 15-minute time frame. Now this wick here was intact on the 15-minute, which means this wick's higher, which means we get a higher high, higher high, higher high, and eventually take profit. Okay, so very good, very clean trade. Personally, I think I would have taken this myself had I not already been in gold from 4 o'clock this morning. So two nice trades. A combination of 7.6R. Okay, so I'm going to just run through with you the DAX as well, right? Because this DAX is a very nice indice to trade. Okay, when it moves, it generally just moves, and what I say is when it gets hit, it stays hit. All right. So yesterday, there's a couple of trades here. Okay, so this imbalance area here, which I looked at, and I was monitoring this yesterday. So we come down off this imbalance into the bigger imbalance at the bottom, and price obviously started rejecting it. So there's a couple of trades here which could have been taken. So the first one here, okay, I wouldn't have got in at the high. What I would have done is waited for this candle here, all right, because this is a bitch candle and this is not. Okay, this is just a sweep with a high. This is a bitch candle, right? So I would have taken my trade on the break of this low once that candle is formed. You could either put your stop loss at the high, which would have been 40 pips, or you could put it a little bit lower. Nonetheless, in about 15 minutes, this trade hit a full 2R take profit. Now, later on in the afternoon, okay, we've got a lot of news here. So in between sessions, like 11 o'clock to like 2 o'clock really, 2 o'clock, I don't suggest that you take any entries on any trades because it can be a little bit choppy. But what you see here is quite clearly, right, we've got this imbalance, right, and price is trying to move away from it. Now, if you look at this area here, a 15-minute imbalance, we had a 15-minute pin bar. Okay, so how do you enter? Well, you've actually got a pin bar. So when you got a pin bar, you don't need to have a bitch candle, right? Because a pin bar in its own right is a confirmation, right? So we've got this 5-minute closure above the fair value gap, the higher time frame one, also coming off 15-minute imbalance here. Okay, so taps in, rejects straight away. So again, we can go with the stop loss just below this candle or just below the fair value gap. Okay, and then we aim for 2R yet again, and this one would have taken a little bit longer. Nonetheless, it would have hit. Maybe you'd have to have held it overnight, so I would advise closing this trade, especially if it comes back up here about 7-8 o'clock and you think it's not quite going to get there. Just close the trade. Now this morning it's been a very similar scenario here, and we've got this 1 hour area, okay, which was a 1 hour imbalance. Okay, so what happens when we get an imbalance? Well, these are the areas that we can look to take a trade. Okay, we only need to be in and out very short term. We've obviously got this rejection from this area, okay, which I've marked off. Candle opens 8 AM with no wick to the downside, so there's a lot of volume in the longs here, right? What we do then is we need to be a little bit more patient, okay, because there are a multitude of trades available here. Let me just move this over a little bit. Okay, so we've got again the imbalance area. So this imbalance here was 8 o'clock, 8:45, and then 9 AM. That's the trade here. Okay, so the trade happens. We've got this big 15-minute closure outside the fair value gap. If you wait for the wick to come down on the next candle, we put a stop loss below the low of the 15-minute confirmation candle. So this is a confirmation candle. If we go down to the 5-minute time frame, we've got an added confluence again. Okay, so we've actually now got a bitch candle. Okay, so there's no bitch candle, no bitch candle, no bitch candle, but these three candles here, these are the confirmation candle, right? So this is a bullish confirmation candle here in its own right. So you've got that confirmation. We're also trading and closing above the fair value gap. We've then got the bitch candle here. So whether or not you took the trade on the flip, which again it's not too much of an issue to do that, you've got the confirmation candle here. So in the GFX manipulation point blueprint, actually there's a method there of entry that you can actually use when you've got a 15-minute confirmation to be able to take the trade on the flip of the next candle, as long as it doesn't break the low of the previous candle, and that again would have given a nice 2R trade. So oops, yeah, DAX is on the watch list again, along with gold. Maybe we'll trade DAX a little bit more often, because I used to trade DAX quite a lot, and then I just stuck with gold basically for the long term, because gold's my favorite currency to pair. It's what I trade. I trade gold day in, day out, and I think by just sticking to one currency or one asset, you get to know it a little bit better. But obviously we've had a lot of chop on gold, so it's nice to diversify a little bit and add something else. And you can see very clearly that DAX responds very well to the imbalances, and it goes generally just purely on the basis of the last couple of days. It likes imbalances, and it likes this strategy. So yeah, moving forward, I'll be adding or having DAX back on the watch list.